This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, this will be a continuation session of partial functions. Before going to the partial functions, I'm going to say how to assign a function to a variable. How to assign a function to a variable in Python, I'm going to say. After that, I'll come to partial functions. I'm going to get on Py file, assigning variable, assigning function to a variable, sorry, assigning function to a variable, function to a variable, to a variable. See, in Python, what we can do, we can assign a function to a variable. If you are assigning function to a variable, we can say it's a first class objects. We can say it's a first class objects. First class objects has various properties. You can assign a function to a variable. First one, you can call one function to the another function. With the help of one function, you can call another function. That also a first class objects. If you take C or Java, you if you take C or Java, you can't assign one function to another function as an parameter. You can't assign one function as a parameter to another function in C and another C++. But in Python, you can assign a function to your parameter of another function. Then we can say it's a first class objects. Now I'm going to say how to assign a function to a variable. How to assign a function to a variable in Python. Okay. Now I will show, like I'm going to create some method like def of fun method name is fun. Okay, the method name is fun, and then I'm going to return the values somewhat fun underscore one. Now I have function. If someone calls the function, is going to return a string. The string name is fun underscore one. Now I'm going to show how to assign a function to a variable. I can make a note. Assign a function to a variable. Assign a function to variable. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign function to variable. First I'm going to call this function. First I'm going to call this function fun. Listen carefully. Now what I did, functions are the objects. Functions are the objects. For example, you have one class called A. You have one class called A. How you getting object? Class name, and then you calling the constructor, and then you giving the class instances m. We can say the reference or you can say the pointer. The same thing I'm saying, fun is an object. In Python, everything is an object. Fun is an object. I'm saying fun is a function, it's an object. For fun function, I'm going to create an object. After creating object, I want to give the reference, the pointer. The reference is, what the reference is? Fun. Don't say it's a function name. I'm saying to you, look at here. For class A, I created an object. After that, assign to the variable call m. The same thing for function is an object. Function is an object. I can write like this, right? I can write like this. Fun equal to, now I'm saying fun is an object. I'm saying fun is an object. The reference will be, the class instance will be fun. Here I can make, instead of m, I can make capital E. Capital E is nothing but a reference. This is going to be creating an object for the particular class A. Now I am saying function is an object, and then I am going to give one reference called fun, and then I'm going to point to another variable. I'm going to point to another variable called x. Now, what I'm going to do? Use a print statement. I'm going to call that variable. If I call this variable, what will happen? It referring to this fun. This fun reference will call this fun method, and finally going to return fun underscore one. This is how you can assign a function to a variable. I'm assigning to a variable called x, and then I'm calling x of function. By calling x of function, it's going to refer your fun reference. This fun reference is going to call the fun function, and finally it's going to return fun underscore one. Now I'm going to pass some arguments. Listen here, I'm going to pass some arguments. I want to pass some arguments. I'm going to pass some arguments a comma b, a comma b, or I can give like this. Okay, only one argument I'm going to pass, one parameter I'm going to pass. I'm going to multiply the b. If I give 3 over here, though my fun underscore one is string, it's going to give 3 times fun underscore one. It's going to give 3 times fun underscore one. Now, what I have to do? That's what I have to do. I have to, fun is an object. I have to create a instance for my fun object. The name is same as fun. Name is same as fun. And then I want to assign to you another variable. You can take any variable. I'm going to take b. B equal to fun. This reference I'm assigning to b variable. Now I'm going to call the b as a function. If you call b as a function, what will happen? It will refer the fun. The fun is going to call me function of a, and then it's going to give. I want to pass a value. What do I want to pass? 3 I want to pass. This a value is substituted as 3, and then it's going to print fun underscore 1 as 3 times. You can see fun underscore 1, fun underscore 1, and then fun underscore 1. In a simple test, I can say, refer this example. Fun is an object. I'm getting on reference, and then fun, and then I'm asking the reference to the variable b, and then I'm calling the variable of b of 3. Now, instead of a, 3 will be substituted. Now, fun underscore 1 into 3 will be 3 times fun will be printed. Okay. Now, I'm putting 2 parameters a comma b, a comma b. Now, you have to say how to assign a function to a variable. How this function? How to assign a function to a variable?
Object name.
What object? Yeah, object reference. Okay, object reference equal to make it as fun. Assign to one variable. Take any variable, x or y or z. Take any variable z. Okay. Now, how to call this? How to call this function? Call that variable. Use a function and then pass some value. How many parameters I want to pass?
2.
2 parameters you want to pass. You can pass some values 3 comma 6. Okay. What will happen? Fun underscore 1 with into a 3 times fun underscore 1 will be printed plus b will be 6, right? Let's see the results. Oh, can only concatenate string. Okay, then what you can do? Can only concatenate string, not int. You can cast this b. What you can do? You can cast the b to string. That's it. You can see fun underscore 1, fun underscore 1, finally 6 will be concatenated because b is an integer. Now I am casting into string. Into string. This is how you can assign a function to a variable. You can assign a function to your variable. Okay. Now I'm going for some partial functions as of now. Okay. See, if you assign a function to a variable, function reference to a variable, these are called the first class objects. In C language, you can't do this. And then second point is you can't assign a function to the another function parameter. In Python, we can able to assign the function to a variable as well as you can pass one function to another function as a parameter. These are all called the first class objects. That's why I'm saying you can't do in C language. C language are called the second class objects. Python are called the first class objects. Okay, leave that part now. I'm going to discuss the first class objects later. Now I'm going to create one more partial functions. Okay, I'm going to have one more partial functions. Have file partial func underscore p. Now I'm going to have one program converting kilometer to miles. I'm going to write a small piece of program converting kilometer to miles. What's the conversion? 1 kilometer equal how many miles? I think it's 0.61, I guess. 1 kilometer equal to the miles will be 0.621, I guess. Okay. Okay, make it 1 kilometer equal to the miles will be 0.621 miles. 0.621 miles.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have one partial function. Okay, def conversion like miles conversion. Okay, I'm going to make the function name is miles conversion. In that I have to pass two parameters. The first parameter will be I have to give the conversion, mile conversion. Mile conversion I want to give mile conversion value. I have to give a parameter, and then whenever you are using three or more words, you have to go for the camel case mile conversion value, and then you have to pass kilometers. Kilometer you have to pass. Okay, kilometers you have to pass, and then what I can do. Okay, no. Okay, now conversion value equal to I'm going to take this parameter, going to assign to a variable, and then after convert into mile conversion, sorry, mile conversion equal to conversion value to kilometers, conversion value into kilometers, right? Okay, and then finally returning the mile conversion will be the output, right? I'm returning this value. Okay. Now here mile conversion will be a constant value. Constant value. The value will be 0.621 miles, right? But kilometer might be keep on changing, right? I can find for 2 kilometers or 10 kilometers. I can find for any kilometer. I can't able to guess what the kilometer will be in future. Okay. For that, what I going to do? I going to have partial functions. For partial functions, what do I do? We have to import a module. The module name is from function tools import partial. The module name is function tools. From function tools import function will be partial. Okay. Now have one variable. I'm going to have yx equal to. I'm going to call this function. The function name is partial, and then first parameter you have to pass the function name you have to. Now, in these two parameters, which one is constant? Kilometer is constant or mile conversion value is constant? Mile conversion value is constant or kilometer is constant?
Mile conversion value is constant.
Mile conversion constant. Okay, just make mile conversion value. Okay, let's take this value. Mile conversion value equal to what's value? 0.621. 621. Now I created a partial function. Okay, I created a partial object actually. I created a partial object and the reference will be x. The reference will be x. I can say the pointer or reference for this object, for this mile conversion object. The reference will be x. Okay. Now what I going to do? Reformat the file. Okay. Now let's do the print statement. X of what will I have to pass? Already I set the mile conversion equal to 0.621. Now I have to substitute only the kilometers. Now I go and calculate for 16 kilometers. 16 kilometers. It's going to give the result for 16 kilometers. Okay, mile conversion got multiple values for arguments. What it's showing? Mile conversion got multiple values. Line of 16 got multiple values for argument. Wait for a minute. Okay, yeah, right only. Mile conversion got multiple values for argument. Okay, what are multiple values? X of 16 we mentioned over here. Okay, let it be. It got multiple values. 0.622. Okay. Mistake. Why it's that miles conversion got multiple values? Miles conversion got multiple values. Okay. It's saying got multiple values. 16 kilometers. Okay. Why it's throwing x of 16? Line 14 itself throwing in the mirror. Why of it got multiple values for arguments, mile conversion value.
This conference will now be recorded.
See, what you have to do now, keep the kilometers first argument. Kilometers first argument, mile conversion value as second argument. Now the mile conversion value will be 0.621 miles. 0.621 miles. Okay. Now after this I am creating a partial object. The reference is going to be x. I am going to call this variable x of 9. This x is known. I am going to point the kilometers. Is going to point the kilometers. Now 9 into 0.621 will be your results. Now for 9 kilometers, the miles will be 5.589. Conversion of, you can mention like this, conversion of kilometer to miles. Yes. Now I am going to calculate for 15 kilometer. I can make 20 kilometer now. 25 into 0.621. 25 into 0.621. Use comma. You'll get 15.525 miles. For 25 kilometer, you'll get the miles as 15.525 miles. And are you there? You can see this is how you can convert kilometer to miles. Now what you can do, you can take one variable conversion value equal to, you can take this mile conversion and then you can assign this variable. Okay, what are the parameters substituting? That value assigned to conversion value. The conversion value in kilometers will be multiplied, and finally it's going to give the result mile conversion. That value going to return for this function. Okay. Now if you run this script, you're going to get the same results. See, keep in mind whichever value is going to be a constant one, keep as a second argument. Whichever value is going to constant, you're going to keep the value second parameter. Okay. Now in partial function, I want to pass a function name and then the constant value I have to substitute. Okay. After that, once getting a partial object, the reference I'm going to give x. Okay. Now if I call x of 25, the 25 value will be assigned for kilometers. Assigned to kilometers. Okay. You might have a question. If I pass mile conversion equal to 0.7, what will happen? This value will be overridden. It will take only the new value. For mile conversion value, it will take only 0.1. This value will be overridden. Okay. Now it's going to give 25 into 0.7 for 25 kilometers. The miles will be 17.5 miles. For 20 kilometer, the miles will be 0.1 miles. San, are you there?
Yeah, yes.
For 25 kilometers, the miles will be, you can see, the miles will be 15.52 miles. Now you may have a question. If I pass a mile conversion value to some other value, what will happen? What will happen? This value will be overwritten. I'm going to give 0.8 now. If I call x of 25 comma mile conversion by 28, 25 will be assigned to kilometers. The mile conversion value as point will be assigned. This value will be overwritten. We'll take only the new value. You can see for 25 kilometers, the mile conversion is 20.0 miles. Okay. This is how you can do the partial functions. Yeah, this is how you can create a partial function. And one more thing you have to keep in mind, whichever constant value you have to keep a second parameter. Whichever constant value, keep a second parameter, because whenever you call this reference, the 25 will be passed as a first parameter. 20 will be passed as a first parameter. Okay. These are the lambda functions. Then yeah, and then partial function application is very useful. Very useful, especially where you need to apply a range of different inputs to a single object. See, for a single object, I can apply different inputs. I can use 25. I can put 50 kilometers. I can put 100 kilometers. I can put 200 kilometers. For a single object, I'm giving some range of inputs. I'm giving some range of inputs. If you are trying to give range of inputs for any partial function, then you can go for this partial. Okay. For example, when you need to apply a range of different input to a single object, I can say if you are applying a range of different inputs to a single object, or you need to bind one of the argument to a function as a constant, then you can go for this partial function. There are two major reasons. One is you can apply a range of different inputs to a single object. First one. Second one is you can bind one of the argument to the function be constant. For this function, mild conversion value is constant. I'm going to bind the value one parameter of constant value. Then you can go for partial functions. Okay. And then by using Python partial functions, you can write your code easily and easier to maintain, as well as you can reuse your code. Okay, you can reuse your code as well. Okay, now in partial functions, I am creating two functions internally. First function name is mild conversion. What second function name? X of this is going to be second function. Internally, it's happening because you can say this is a partial object. The reference is x. Okay, internally calling this function x of 200. Okay, then only able to call this partial object. And partial object call the mild conversion. It is going to calculate all the values, going to give the final results. Partial function allows us to call a second function with fixed values in certain arguments. Okay, these are the examples of partial functions. Keep in mind, if you want bind any single value constant, then you go for partial functions. Or for a single partial object, you want test different range of values, then you can go for partial functions. Now we're going to see what is first class objects. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. What I can do, I can open the incognito window and then I can skip those ads. Now we're going to see first class functions. If you are passing one function as a parameter to another function, then we can say it's a first class functions. Then we can say it's a first class functions. Or if you are assigning a function to a variable, then we can say it's a first class functions. These are the various properties of first class functions. If your function falls in one of this category, then you can say it's a first class function. If you take C language or C++ or Golang, you can't call the function as a parameter to another function. That's why we are saying C language second class functions. But Python we have first class function. The first point is function is an instance of the object type. Function is the instance of the object type. Now I'm going to have one function. I'm going to have one function. We're going to look at the first point now. Function is the instance of object type. I already said to you, function is an instance of the object I said to you. Now I'm saying to you, function is an object. For this function, how will you create an object?
You give an instance.
Just give some instance reference. You can say reference, or you can call mild conversion. Okay, you can call mild conversion. This mild conversion is nothing but your instance. That instance you are referring to this one more variable called x. Okay. Now you will call print of x comma. You will pass some parameters, right? You will pass kilometers, and then you will pass some mild conversion value like 0.621. Like this will pass. Okay, that's why they're saying function is an instance of the object type. Okay, the function is an object, and then I'm this is a reference actually. I'm assigning reference to one more variable x. If I call this function, this is going to call my mile conversion. Directly won't call the mile conversion. It will refer the reference, and then reference will call this mile conversion method, and then you're going to give some values. And then second point is you can store the function to variable. You can store the function to variable. I'm going to show. Second point is I can assign function to variable y equal to y equal to can call like this instead of kilometers can pass 20 and then going to pass mile conversion value is 0.621. Okay, now you can store a function. I can store a function into a variable. The variable name is y. Okay, the second property. Third property is you can pass a function as a parameter to another function. Okay. As of now, keep in mind, I'm going to show the implementation. You're going to pass a function as a parameter to another function. And then fourth one is you can return the function from function. Okay. As of now, I will implement it here. Simple method. Now you're going to see adder. Okay, yeah, okay. I can keep like this. Adder. How many methods we have? We have two methods. Right. Out equal to a plus b and return off. If someone calls the adder method, they have to pass two parameters. This inner function will going to add this a plus b and going to give the results out. Going to store the results in one variable. This out variable value will be returned to this function. I have two functions, one outer function and then one inner function. Okay. Now, if someone calls method, they have to pass two parameters, and then this inner function will add this a plus b and going to store the results in one variable. That variable will be returned to this main function. That's what it's saying here. You can return the function from a function. You can return the function from a function. I'm returning the value of this function to another function. Okay, and then you can store them in data structures like hash tables, list, arrays. You can store this first class function in hash tables and list. Now I'm going to show the implementation one by one. Okay, first I'm going to show function is an instance of the object type. If any of this function falls under this category, then we can say it's a first class objects. If it is not falling in this property, then we can't say that function is a first class object. Okay. Now I'm going to take this thing and going to show the implementation. I'm going to have new py file. Py file name is first class functions, or you can say first class objects. First class functions. Function is an instance of object type. This is the first property actually. Okay, what we can do? Can you give some example? Get some function and then achieve this property. Function is instance of object type. Take it one time and then you How to implement function is an instance of the object type. Okay, otherwise I will try to solve. It's very simple. I'm going to have your name. Have your name. Name, right? Name. Name. And then I'm going to have some text message. And keep like yeah, I can keep some more fruits, and then I'm going to return the string as uppercase. Okay. Now, what we have to do? Function is an instance of the type. For this function is the object actually. This function is the object. For this create a reference. What is the reference? The reference will be equal to same reference. Keep like this fruits, and then have one variable. Okay, I'm going to have one y, and then what you can do, you have to call this variable as a function y of text you have to pass. What text you have to pass? Apple, because I have to pass apple. Now it's giving in the uppercase. Now what I'm trying to say is function is an instance object type. Function is object actually. This function, which one is instance? Fruits is a instance. Instance means a reference. Okay, is a reference. It's a reference will be fruits. For the reference, I'm going to assign to y, and then I'm going to call y of apple. This apple will be a text, and then apple dot upper will be uppercase. Now I'm going to show function has been passed as an argument to another function. Function has been function can be passed out as an arguments to other functions. Now I'm going to have a def school name. Okay, I'm going to pass a parameter as text. Okay, I have to use a certain keyword, and then the text dot upper. Okay, and then one more thing I have to use. I can keep like this. It's a private school name. It's a public school name. Okay, private school name, and then it's a public school name. Public school name. In the meantime, think about this: how to pass one function as an argument to another function. Public school name, I'm going to have text. It is a written keyword. Text dot. I'm going to use a lowercase. Reformat the file. Okay, let it be. Now I'm going to have one more function. Read. Read. Okay. Now in this great function, I want to pass function as an parameter. I can say it's argument. I want to pass this private school name in the greet function. I can pass public school name in the greet function. Okay, that's what this saying is function passes as an argument to another function. Okay, now I'm going to write a method def function of greet of function, and then greetings equal to the variable name. I'm going to call this function. I'm going to call this function. What I can do? What I can do here is the school private or public school having a okay. Now just print greetings. See, don't get confused. I have two functions, private school name and public school name, and then one more function called greet. What I going to do? I going to call this function as a parameter to this function. Wait, I'll say. I'm going to call this greet. What am I going to do? I want to call the I want to call the private school name as a argument, or you can say parameter. Python we use term called parameter. In Java they say arguments. Don't get confused. It's a parameter. If I pass this private school name, what will happen? See, I pass this function here, greet of private school name. This greet of now, what you have to do? This greet of private school name will be called to this greet function, and then the text parameter you are here, right? That will be called as func over here. Okay, that will called the function over here. How to map? I will say. Wait. Take a notepad. Look at the greet function. In the greet function, you want to pass one function as your parameter. In the function, you can see the line number 23. In the function, I have some text. I have some text. Instead of this func, replace private school name. Open the bracket. Instead of text, you go and take the school name is private or public school. That's it. I can map like this for your understanding. Okay, this func will be here. Func of text is there, right? Func of text is there. Otherwise, I can make a note like this. Of text, I can remove. Instead of func, put the private school name, and then instead of text, I am going to take this message. Now, if I run the script, it's going to give this string in a uppercase. You can see the school is private or public school. How it's internally happening in the sense, you are calling this greet method. In the greet method, I am calling this private school name. In the private school name will be passed as a parameter to this function. Once you call this function, what will happen? This private school name will be substituted instead of this func. This text will be taken as school is private or public school. Once it computed all the results, text dot upper, it's going to store in greetings. Finally, print of greetings will be going to get in uppercase. Now you're going to say, I want to call public school. How to call? I want to call the public school name as a parameter to greet function. How will you call? You want to call this parameter as here to the greet function. It's very simple. Greet, and then you have to pass the public school name function as a parameter. That's it. Now what will happen? This func will be replaced by public school name. This text will be replaced by the school is private or public school, and then you're going to call this method, and then that text will be converted into lowercase. Or it is in lowercase only. It will be converted to lowercase. This school is private or public school. These are the examples for how to pass a function as an argument to another function. You can able to see for this function I am passing this function as an argument. For greet I am passing this function as an argument. I can say parameter. For greet I am passing this function as a parameter. Okay, this is how you can able to get assign a variable to another function. Now third one we're going to see. What's the third one actually? Third one is going to be okay. Yeah, we see the third one. Fourth one is you can return the function from function. I'm going to have two functions. In one function, I'm going to have one more function inside. We can say it's a nested functions. Okay. I'm going to show how to return a function from function. Just copy and then have your hint like this. Now I'm going to subtract the two numbers a and b. I'm going to subtract the two numbers. Can you help me on this? How to write a function to subtract two numbers? Yeah, def like I'm going to make create subtract. Okay, how many uh, how many parameters required? You need two parameters, right? You need two parameters. Now for outer function I'm going to pass only x, and then I'm going to have one more inner function. I'm going to have only subtract, and then I'm going to pass y. Now the return keyword for this inner function will be, what I have to give? X minus, don't give intermission, x minus y. X minus y. Once this subtract, returning this x minus y value, okay, the results will be returned to this main function. What you have to do, you have to use one more return, and then just call the function name, inner function name. Sand, don't get confused. Okay, what is happening here is I have two functions. Inside one, I have one more function. Okay, what I have is subtract. One in subtract, I'm going to subtract these values. Once I subtract these values, it's going to store the results in. If someone calls this method, it's going to give x minus y value. Okay, that's why I am returning this subtract. If someone calls this create subtract method, what will happen? It will going to call this inner subtract method, and then the results will be x minus y, and then I am finally returning this x minus results in this main function. The caller will call this function, and then it will call the subtract function, and then final results will be given by this main function.
Okay.
Okay, like this will happen. This is how you can implement. You can return the function from function. From this function, I'm returning another function. Okay, this is how. See, you can write so many inner functions. Okay, it's just two level linear functions. You can write three level linear functions or four level linear functions. You can write n level of linear functions. You can write. It's a nested level. Now you going to say, I want to apply partial functions without using the module. What's the module name? Without using this module, I want to call my partial functions. Okay, sorry. How to do? First, what do you have to do? First, call this function. You all know functions in object and pass x value. What's x value? 15. Function is an object, and then assign to one variable. Okay. Now you pass only x value. You pass only. Sorry, I'm going to make z. Okay. I'm going to make it z. Okay. Now I call this main function create subtract and then passing the value, and then use a print statement. Call this variable because I already said to you function is an object. The reference will be stored as z. I'm going to call z of what value I can pass. I can pass 10. Now the result is going to give 15 minus 10 will be 15 minus 10 will be 5. That's it. You can see. Okay, otherwise you can do like this as well. Okay, yeah, what you can do like this. Yeah, yeah. L equal to z equal to, let's check. L equal to z equal to, you can make L like this also you can do. I'll reformat this thing. You can see what I'm doing here. This is going to be the object. The object reference is z. That reference I'm assigning to one variable called L. I'm calling L of 10. I hope you understood. Okay. Previously we called like this only, right? We'll create a partial object, assign to one variable, and then variable I will call x of 100. The same thing happened over here. This create function is a function. I'm getting an object reference z. The reference assigned to one more variable, and then I'm calling the variable L of 10. The L of 10 will point the reference of z. The z will call this create subtract method, and then it compute all the results. Finally, it's going to give the value as 5. These are called the what objects? First class objects. If any of a property falls on this category, if function falls in this category, then we can say it's a first class functions. Okay. The last point I will discuss while doing some Python programs. I'll say how to store them in data structures in hash tables list. I'll say. Okay. Now next thing will be, yeah, I will close this session as of now.